Welcome back, my friends. Is OPEC Plus over a barrel? OPEC Plus ministers will meet to determine their next oil production policy steps on June 4 in Vienna. They face a market rattled by supply volatility, demand uncertainty and a prospective recession, which could throttle transport fuel consumption. Public signals have been conflicting following Saudi Energy Minister Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman's late May warning that oil speculators could face further pain ahead. What does this mean for consumers? What does this mean for energy markets? What does this mean for oil companies? What does it mean for the U.S. economy? And what does it mean for the future of the United States? But, before we get into all of that, please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. And, before we continue, a word from the sponsor of this video. Today's sponsor is InnerLife.com, creator of the InnerLife STS system. InnerLife STS is a cloud mobile platform for mental health care and its integration with primary medical care. InnerLife STS is designed for assessment, data collection and analytics, documentation, and progress tracking. InnerLife STS creates and composes conceptualized narratives and builds them into professional-grade reports. These reports are designed for use by mental health professionals, primary care physicians, justice system professionals and universities and include mental health assessment reports, mental health treatment reports, and treatment progress reports. And InnerLife STS uses doctor-selected pseudonames for all patients. So, only the doctor knows the patient identity. OPEC Plus, also known as OPEC Plus, is an informal coalition of oil-producing countries that was formed to coordinate and manage global oil production levels in order to stabilize oil prices. OPEC stands for the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, a long-standing organization founded in 1960, consisting of 13 member countries primarily located in the Middle East, Africa, and South America. The formation of OPEC Plus came about in 2016 when several non-OPEC oil-producing nations, led by Russia, joined forces with OPEC to address the oversupply of oil and low oil prices in the global market. The purpose of this alliance was to collectively reduce oil production and thereby support higher oil prices. The key members of OPEC Plus are the 13 OPEC countries, including Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates, along with the 10 non-OPEC countries, most notably Russia, Mexico, Kazakhstan, and Azerbaijan. These countries collectively account for a significant portion of global oil production and hold substantial reserves. OPEC Plus operates by implementing production quotas and adjustments to regulate oil supply. The member countries collectively agree on the target production levels and make necessary adjustments to balance the market and stabilize oil prices. When prices are low, the coalition may agree to cut production to reduce supply and increase prices. Conversely, during periods of high prices, production may be increased to take advantage of the favorable market conditions. The decisions and agreements of OPEC Plus are typically made through meetings and negotiations among the member countries. The group holds regular ministerial meetings where production levels, market conditions, and other relevant factors are discussed. These meetings provide a platform for members to coordinate their policies and work towards maintaining stability in the global oil market. The actions of OPEC Plus have a significant impact on the global oil market, as they collectively control a substantial portion of oil production. Any changes in production levels or policies by OPEC Plus can result in notable shifts in oil prices, affecting both oil-consuming nations and oil-dependent economies worldwide. It's important to note that the dynamics within OPEC Plus can sometimes be complex due to the varying interests and priorities of the member countries. However, the alliance remains an important force in the global oil industry, playing a crucial role in shaping oil prices and market stability. The OPEC Plus alliance of oil producers will decide further production policy steps over the weekend, as crude prices reflect an ongoing struggle between supply-demand fundamentals and broader macroeconomic concerns. After convening remotely throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, OPEC Plus has returned to in-person meetings and will gather in Vienna on June 4. The OPEC ministers gather for a separate meeting unlikely to address output on June 3. Since October, OPEC Plus, a 23-member alliance including heavyweights Russia and Saudi Arabia, has lowered output by 2 million barrels per day in an effort to combat lower demand. Some members have also announced additional voluntary cuts totaling 1.6 million barrels per day in April. On May 23, Saudi Energy Minister Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman warned oil market speculators they could face further pain ahead, In comments some have read as hinting further supply cuts could be in the cards. Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak later indicated that he expected no further steps from the OPEC Plus meeting, but then said his comments were misinterpreted as downplaying an output cut, according to Russian state news agency TASS. Russia and Saudi Arabia have been united in their public OPEC Plus stance since a March 2020 dispute that led to the one-month dissolution of their oil partnership and an ensuing price war. One source said that OPEC Plus, which prioritizes the state of global inventories over outright prices, would be comfortable with futures above $75 per barrel, while a fourth estimated near $70 to $80 per barrel. Brent futures with August expiry were trading at $75.70 per barrel at 10:24 a.m. in London, up $1.42 per barrel from the Thursday settlement. Deep cuts also risk re-attracting U.S. ire, as Washington has historically criticized supply reductions that pile strain on consuming households. Goldman Sachs analysts expect OPEC Plus to keep production unchanged this weekend. However, they said in a note Wednesday that they see a sizable 35% subjective probability of further OPEC cuts, as oil prices are clearly below our $80-85 per barrel estimate of the OPEC put. Oil markets have historically been steered by physical supply and demand fundamentals, which have been increasingly overshadowed by broader macroeconomic concerns over the fuel consumption impact of high inflation, bolstering interest rates and the spring collapse of several U.S. and European banks. OPEC Plus delegates also said the group had been following U.S. debt ceiling negotiations, as the proposal of President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy transited several debate and vote stages in a bid for the world's largest economy to avoid defaulting on its bills. The impact of higher oil prices on the global economy will weigh heavily on the ministers' minds, Jorge Leon, Senior Vice President of Oil Market Research at Rystad Energy, said in a Thursday note, adding that OPEC Plus could maintain production as a precaution. The ministers might therefore take a wait-and-see approach and hold off taking any action. Demand forecasts remain lukewarm at best, so maintaining current output could be the most prudent course. Supply is also under question, given involuntary declines. Roughly 450,000 barrels per day of northern Iraqi exports were frozen by a legal dispute between Baghdad, Ankara, and the Kurdistan regional government. Nigeria, typically West Africa's largest oil producer, self-reported its April crude production at just 999,000 barrels per day following disruptions, according to OPEC's monthly oil market report for May. Meanwhile, the true extent of Russian output losses remains unclear, as vessels carrying Moscow's crude turn off their satellite tracking and Russia looks to further shift its clientele east. If you follow this channel or the general news about the oil industry, you will know about the recent actions of OPEC Plus. In late October, OPEC Plus, the powerful oil cartel, has just surprised the world with an unexpected cut in production. That sent oil markets reeling and oil prices higher. OPEC Plus considered the production cut to be necessary because of recession fears. Of course, that was the exact opposite of what the United States was hoping OPEC Plus would do. And, if you recall, that was at a time just prior to the midterm elections in the United States. So, the White House was doing everything it could to keep gasoline prices low. By now, the midterm elections have come and gone. But the United States government is still interested in keeping gas prices low. That is because lower gasoline prices are better for economic activity levels in the United States. The upcoming highly anticipated OPEC Plus meeting comes ahead of potentially disruptive price cap on Russian oil and mounting fears of a worldwide recession. European countries are deeply concerned about what will happen to energy prices this winter, and the prospect of an economic recession and possibly even a winter gas shortage. OPEC Plus is now signaling that it might impose further oil output cuts on Sunday. The Energy Alliance is weighing the impact of a pending ban on Russia's crude exports and a possible price cap on Russian oil, said one oil industry analyst. Saudi Arabia is seen as the informal head country of OPEC Plus. The purpose of the meeting is to decide on the next phase of oil production policy. Russian seaborne crude oil exports are subject to a price cap of $60 per barrel starting on December 5. That is a huge source of uncertainty. The European Union agreed to ban the purchase of Russian seaborne crude oil starting on December 5 of last year. The ban is part of an all-out effort to cut Russia's war chest after Russia invaded Ukraine. Some experts are concerned that an outright ban on Russian crude imports could send oil prices higher. But it seems that the G7 nations have agreed on a price cap on the amount it will pay for Russian oil. The Kremlin said that any price cap on Russian oil will cause more harm than good. OPEC Plus voted to reduce production by 2 million barrels per day starting in November. But, since that price cap went into effect, crude oil prices have generally fallen. The production cut came despite calls from the US for OPEC Plus to pump more crude oil. Oil prices have fallen quite a lot from their high point in June. Recall that in 2020 worldwide crude oil prices briefly went negative during the height of the pandemic. At that time, OPEC Plus made an emergency production cut of 10 million barrels per day just to stabilize the oil market. Energy analysts point out that it is difficult for anyone to predict oil prices 2 months in advance these days. Multiple forces are acting on worldwide oil prices. But, what do you think? Please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.